The Bethune-Cookman game has come and gone without anything happening of any significance. And you know what I mean. So a relatively full-strength Miami Hurricanes team is now diving headfirst into the meaty portion of its schedule with a surprisingly undefeated South Florida outfit headed into Hard Rock Stadium on Saturday afternoon to then be followed by a Florida Gator team that is reeling a little bit after losing to the Bulls this past weekend. And then, of course, a trip up to Florida State. This season has gotten real on us very quickly. Everything has been about perfect for the Canes so far, with Carson Beck looking absolutely elite, with CJ Daniels and Malachi Toney literally surging into that void that we talked the entire offseason could exist at receiver. The running backs, the offensive line, all playing at a high level. The defense, pretty solid for the most part. Not a ton for the Canes fan to be all uptight about as we begin this new edition tonight of CaneSport Live. This week, the challenge is going to be slowing down the dual run-pass threat of Byron Brown, South Florida's dynamic quarterback, who gave the Gators fits last week in that upset in Gainesville. If Miami contains Brown, it should walk off with a relatively easy victory this Saturday night. So by now, the Canes fan has become intrigued about what this season might be. There's a big picture out there on the horizon, and we're going to be talking about all of that and more tonight on CaneSport Live. What do you think? What might the future hold? Let's get right to it. Hello again, everybody. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com. I welcome you once again to the People's Show, CaneSport Live. As usual, this show will be driven by your participation. Many of our guests tonight have pre-registered with us, but if you have not pre-registered and you would like to come on the show, I'm going to put the streamer down at the bottom of the screen. All you have to do is email us at canesport@yahoo.com. We'll shoot you information on how you get into the studio, and we'll bring you on the show. We love to get newbies in here every single week. But let me get started now by bringing in my partner in crime at CaneSport, Matt Shodell. And we all love Matt's wit and wisdom. I'm sure many of you saw his new column that began this morning on CaneSport.com, where he, what's the word I'm looking for? Ingratiates us with his absolute impeccable humor and life experiences and things like that. I think it's a column that you guys are going to grow to like over time. I hope you had a chance to see that. But now we're going to bring him on in the flesh himself. Here he is, looking happy as always.
My happy face. What do you want from me? I got a resting sad face. It's a condition. Don't make fun of it.
Matt, welcome back to CaneSport Live. What's on your mind this week?
Well, you forced me to write this column. I told people not to read it, but they read it. It's very disappointing. Whatever I say at home to my children, I guess I'm married to my wife. They don't listen either. Nobody listens to me. And why should they? Is what it is. But listen,
all right, so
you want to talk about the Hurricanes? Is that what we're talking about, or are we talking about my life? I don't know.
Let's talk about the Hurricanes. I mean, not a ton to take, obviously, out of the Bethune game, but there was a game at Hard Rock Stadium Saturday, and like I said at the beginning of the show, Miami did survive it without any major injuries. We should say that Hayden Lowe suffered an injury on the practice field, and he is now out for the season. Promising freshman defensive lineman who would have played a lot this year. So what that does is it shrinks the depth on the defensive line for sure. We'll see a lot more of Armando Blunt without question. I think that they'll probably try to get Artavius Jones a little more integrated with each passing week, and we'll get to see some different faces than what we expected. So the Hayden Lowe injury is not anything to poo-poo. It absolutely does weaken what's already not the strongest spot on the team. But as long as Miami's not hit with the injury bug there, Matt, I think they'll be able to survive that and move forward. So go ahead, give us your thoughts.
I'll give you thoughts on the USF game. That's what people probably care about. We've seen Miami play 2 games. So Miami's still not getting respect, by the way. They're ranked 5th, but the odds makers still have them tied with like ridiculous teams to win the national title. No one believes in this team yet, and maybe with good reason. I mean, we cover Miami. We're Miami fans, hypothetically, right? Even though we're reporters. So really what we see is just Miami, and this is a better version of Miami, I think, overall as a team than last year, even without Cam Ward. I think this team would beat last year's team if they played each other in some alternate reality. And as it pertains to USF, what cracks me up is the hyperbole around these games is so ridiculous. Like, no, I did not smile for my high school pictures. Why would you smile for those? It makes you're not happy to be there. Anyway, USF had the 118th ranked defense when Todd Orlando took over his first year as a defense coordinator 2 years ago. Last year, when he was in his second year as defense coordinator, they had the 115th ranked defense, total defense. This year, they're 93rd. And what does James Brockermeyer do earlier today? He goes on the conference call with the media and starts talking about how this is one of the best defenses they're going to play and how the defense has been really good there the last couple of years. Like, these players obviously have no idea. Miami has ingrained in them, which is good, brainwashed them, I don't know, into thinking that this horrible defense, statistically, is like one of the best defenses in the nation, which is what you need to do. So these coaches are doing a great job of apparently not letting players know actual statistics, not letting them find out actual information, and just feeding them the line that nobody believes in you. They think that USF's defense is better than our offense, blah, 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 because that's how football works, right? Football, and Brockermeyer is a perfect example. He's a nice guy from Texas, but on the field, he'll rip your head off. That's what you need to do. You need to pretend. When you're a football player, it's almost like an actor. You need to pretend that your worst enemy or the biggest threat to your family is right across the line from you, and react every single time for 80 straight times as if that's the case. And if you do that, and if you have worked out enough and are big and strong enough, not like Gary, you will be successful.
Kane's sleeping through your little speech here, by the way.
I don't blame him.
I muted you, Kane. You're not coming on yet. I just wanted Matt to see you were sleeping.
Why are you? Let him come on. I'm done.
Yeah, soon enough. Go ahead.
That was it. No, that was my point. My point is that this Miami team is, you call it buy-in, I call it brainwashing. There's not a big difference between buy-in and brainwashing, right? And they're doing a great job of brainwashing guys like James Brockermeyer to think that this USF defense is amazing, because they're not. Miami wins. By the way, I predicted today Miami wins 45-21. That's my official prediction.
Well, J.R. Barr says the low injury sucks, and it does. There's no doubt about it. It does. It's it is. It's a terrible loss. Even though he was a true freshman, he was beyond his time, and he would have made a contribution this year without question. But Darius Nobles kind of agrees with you. He thinks it's going to be close in the first half, but once Heatherman makes adjustments, they get acclimated to the tempo. Canes pull away in the second half. So that's
what happened last. He's living in the past, man. Get out of the time machine. It's a different year. That happened last year. They killed them 50-15, but it was a close game at halftime.
Well, hopefully that's the way it goes this year.
Hey, I think we should bring Jason C-3PO on, not because he's a Star Wars fan, but because he wants to know if I still think Good Morning CaneSport is a quote-unquote stupid show. Of course, obviously. I'm not going to change my mind. I stick to my guns. Yes, it's a stupid show. I don't want to do it. Gary makes me.
Let's start out tonight with the guy that predicted doom and gloom for the Canes on opening day. He was wrong. Okay, he came back last week. He ate a little bit of crow, without question. And so let's start out with Everything 305. Welcome back to CaneSport Live. What you got for us tonight?
Guys, how we doing tonight?
We're doing good. Doing good.
Terrible. Doing terrible.
Matt, change that attitude. Put a big smile on your face. Let's go, buddy.
I'll put a big smile on my face when the season's over and they've won all their games. I will give you that. That I will give you. You will see. If you want to see a smile, I promise you I will smile the entire show and then go to the hospital afterwards to have, it'll be stuck in that position because I'm not used to doing that. The muscles will freeze at that point. But I will do it for you. If they go undefeated, that'll be my reward. I will smile through an entire show.
I tell you what, that's a true testament to your love for this program. Love it.
I go to the hospital for the Hurricanes.
That's right. That's what life's all about when you wake up. What can I do to make the Canes better? That's right. That's what we do. So let me give you some gloom and doom, boys. This quarterback is probably going to be a nightmare for the first half, probably first 3 quarters. Watched the entire film against Bethune, looked at the Notre Dame game again, and I think we've got some weak spots on our second level on our defense. And I think that's concerning. Take into account now you don't have Wesley for a half.
That's not true. That's not true.
I think Wesley sat out the second half of that
Wesley's
game. So
Wesley's playing the whole game.
He doesn't have to sit out at all?
No.
I think the second half of last game counted.
Yes.
Okay, so he met that requirement. Okay,
you're not wrong. I mean, we mentioned it on the morning show that there were guys running free in the secondary on Bethune-Cookman's team, but Byron Brown, they talk about his accuracy. They throw a lot of quick hitters and hitches and do a lot of RPO stuff and a quick passing game off of that. He's not a guy who's doing a lot of 5-step drops and going through progressions and throwing the ball deep down the field. So Miami's all they got to do is cover guys for the first couple of seconds. And honestly, Miami's defensive line is so good that if they're trying to throw the ball down the field, they're going to have problems. And Miami's offense, I think, matches up really well with USF's defense. So if it's going to be a boat race, USF at some point is going to have to be dropping back and going through progressions and throwing the ball down the field and not running clock with, the quarterback run game and the conservative passing game. So, I think this game matches up very well for Miami personally, but you're not wrong. The secondary was not on point against Bethune. And honestly, Notre Dame's quarterback just missed a bunch of guys that were open too. So you're not wrong. And it was surprising to me because that looked like a top-notch group in practices and going against Miami's offense, which those receivers are pretty good, right? We now know. It is surprising, but I think they'll get there. I think that the secondary will be getting better and better versus worse and worse, which we saw last year.
The big difference, man, is that this guy can do a lot more with his legs than the first 2 quarterbacks we've seen. And you're not dealing with a redshirt freshman quarterback who had a lot of opportunities he just never took advantage of. There was a lot of things on tape they still had. They had many advantages on tape they didn't take or he didn't see. He couldn't put together. We're not going to talk about
that's somewhat offset by Notre Dame having a great offensive line versus USF's offensive line is going to have all kinds of problems with these Miami guys. I'm telling you now.
That's a great point. I do think this kid's probably the most dynamic quarterback we're going to play until we see Castellanos. I think Lagway plays exactly out to our strengths as a defense. So not really. I mean, he's a solid young quarterback, but I don't think he's going to put the type of pressure on this defense that this kid's about to do to us. And last year, don't forget, though, we did knock the kid out of the first half. He didn't come back and play the second half. We knocked him out of the game. And that also helped the way that game went. The one thing about this program that you've got to acknowledge is how well coached they are. You've got some really good teachers. And statistically, you might say, well, they're ranked 99, they're ranked 105 on defense, 110. But they keep you in a game. And as long as, you can bend all you want, but you don't break to the extent where you're giving a maximum number of points, and that's where they're pretty good at, that's the type of situation that this offense is now going to be facing. And remember, we only have...
Hold your horses for 1 second, because I just real quick want to point out, Boise State ended 3 of their possessions with fumbles. Florida got screwed by USF bringing their own refs and calling 110 yards in penalties, most of them at huge moments where Florida had scored a touchdown, a couple of touchdowns actually, and they were called back by holding, or you can go holding on every single play. So you can argue to an extent that USF's defense did it. I would argue that Boise State did it to themselves, and that Florida, A, their offense isn't great, and B, as we think now, and B, the referees really, really handed it to Florida, in terms of just killed them.
And what referees are refereeing this game?
40-yard pass on the last play of the game, the last possession that Florida had to win the game. The guy dropped that 40-yard pass right in his hands. I mean, USF's defense is okay, but it's not a top-level defense, period. Like, it's just not.
They're not top level in terms of numbers, but they're top level in terms of execution for what they have.
Yeah,
and that's what they're one thing that allows you to do. Listen, we're still 1 injury away on offense from being limited, other than running the ball down to someone's throat. Because if you look at Malachi Tony is the only guy that is the guy you got to plan for. Everybody else, we still don't know. C.J. Daniels made some nice catches here and there, but he's still not a guy that's going to blow the top off of a defense every time. I mean, he barely blew the top off of it. He had a nice catch against Bethune, but he's not a speedster either. He's not that guy either.
Slow down, though. You still haven't seen JoJo at full strength yet. Hopefully that's coming. Josh Moore, you still haven't seen him really bust out yet. You haven't seen Elijah Lofton do a whole hell of a lot yet. There's still a lot of pieces that have yet to emerge before you really, cast a whole lot of judgment.
And it could be that we've been game planning to make sure that we're not making Elijah that centerpiece of an offensive strategy going into a game to get mismatched on their second level of whoever we're facing. That could be the case that he's not showing that. And he's got him blocking half the time when he is in there. But Elijah's also been pouting. He's been pouting. And then the one chance he gets to score, he falls, he loses his balance and falls. He trips. So I think I understand what you're saying. But in my book, when I scout us and try to do this as clear cut as possible and unbiased as possible, I only worry about one guy, and that's the kid who's 17 years old. So that's a concern. Now, in terms of what we do, we're very predictable on offense. We all know this. We're going to run the ball 90% between the tackles. That's not going to change. So
actually, 76%. No, that's not. 76 is annoying enough for some people. I'm not saying they're right or wrong, but that's what the number is. So don't crank it up to 90. Okay, it's 76.
76%, Gary, and I loved Dawson's explanation yesterday that we do run the ball on the perimeter with those quick hitters.
They do. They consider the bubble screen a running play.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you got to go ahead and have a guard pull. You got to have a counter involved every once in a while. When you do those things, that puts a hell of a lot more pressure on a defense as opposed to throwing the ball out there. I mean, that's football. I'll never agree with that concept. But again, he's forgotten more than I'll ever know. So let's leave that there. But I think it's going to be a very good game, a very tight game, and I see us winning by a touchdown at best. It could be under 7.
All right. Well, if that's the way it plays out, we'll have a lot to talk about next Tuesday night.
USF is overrated. Like Miami, I think is extremely good. I've said that forever. They're a playoff team. Will they lose a couple of games? I'm not so sure anymore. They're going to be favored in the rest of their games now, and I predicted 10-2, but. I mean, at this point, honestly, I think if they finished 10-2, fans would now be upset with 10-2, right? Remember, I was trying to argue, Gary, for a while that Miami fans should be okay with 3 losses, and people freaked out. Now I think after beating Notre Dame and with Florida as bad as it is, I think fans will be mad at 2 losses. Like
Florida State is better than anybody expected. You got to go there on the road.
Fans will be mad if Miami loses to Florida
State. Night game at Doe Campbell. That's never an easy out.
I think Miami will be favored by a few points in that game. That's a fair point.
Is Florida State overrated? Is Florida State overrated?
No, I don't think so. No, they're underrated. They're still probably underrated. I mean, that team, they go the way of the portal. This is what I always say: is you don't know what you're going to get until you do it. Because if you hit a home run with a portal quarterback, your whole offense changes in a blink. If you have some decent players, skill position players. If you miss on quarterback, you get what they had last year. Same thing on defense. If you got a bunch of individuals who are out to try and make the NFL, you're going to have a problem. North Carolina can tell you that. And if you have a bunch of guys all pulling in the same direction, even if they're maybe not top tier guys, if they're playing within the system, in the right system, have good coaching, even though they're just getting there, you can have a really good defense. And it's coming together for Florida this year, not as well probably as it did 2 years ago, but it's this crazy, it's like a bad stock. It's like Tesla. No, Tesla's a good stock, I guess. I don't know.
We'll find out what Florida State is on October 4th.
It's like manipulating a bad stock. You just don't know what you're going to get year to year when you just are getting 20 portal guys and 11 portal starters every damn year.
My last point, and I just wanted to really bring this up. We talk about the portal being the quick fix, Matt, and sometimes you hit, sometimes you miss. Yeah. And recruiting in general is hit and miss. We know that. Especially when you look at a position like the offensive line. That's one of the hardest things to project and predict overall. But there's one kid that I didn't play a lot of high-level competition, came in here with a big label and a big market value, and there was a lot of question marks. But I think the kid from Massachusetts, Sampson, has really put things together. He's playing so well. I don't see him as a tackle, but I definitely see him executing really well as a guard. I think that kid's really grown.
He is he actually is a tackle, but he's strong enough lower body wise to be guard. He'll be a tackle next year. But yeah, Okunlola's excellent. I mean, he's excellent, and he's going to start next year. And honestly, I don't, Mario Cristobal and Alex Mirabal, they know offensive line better than anybody. Like, if there's any position long term I'm not worried about at Miami, they could lose 4 starters off this line, and they'll be fine next year. Like, that's not a position I'm ever going to be worried about. They just stack talent, they coach up talent, they develop talent, and they know what they have to the point that they'll just bring in and pay an offensive lineman free agent to come in, because there's no way in hell Mario's ever going to let that offensive line be anything other than top-notch, stellar, period.
Always make
quarterback money if he has to.
NIL is devoted to the O-line. All right, everything. Thanks again, guys. We'll talk to you next week.
All right.
Have a great night, guys. Thank you. Go Canes.
Yes, sir. Let's see. What was somebody was talking a little bit about there? There we go. About let's see, this one I wanted to talk about. Emery looking better physically and mentally. People, they jump all over me on the message board about Emery Williams, okay? And all I'm doing is writing about what's real, okay? Like, everybody wants to hate on Emery because he had a bad bowl game. He had a bad bowl game. He wasn't prepared. Everything fell apart around him. He looked horrendous, okay? That was a long time ago, man. This kid's worked for 9 months every day with his quarterback coach. He's still not as consistent as I would like to see him. I will say that. I'm not making predictions that he's going to be the starting quarterback next year, just to clear that up. But he has done everything he needed to do to be the backup quarterback this year, and we have to cover him because he is one play away from being the guy if anything happens to Carson at any moment. So, but yes.
You know what I'm surprised about? I'm surprised that, and listen, I know people say you love Emery, it's so terrible. I like Emery too. I think he's a talented quarterback. We don't know yet, is my point. I don't think we know yet. I don't think we can say he's terrible. I don't think we can say he's good. I don't think we can say he's great. He hasn't really had that chance with the first team in a long period of time in practices and then in game situations, blah, 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 blah. What I'm surprised fans aren't upset about is not that Carson Beck played into halfway of the third quarter, but why didn't we see Luke Nickel? Like, if you want to play Emery for a quarter and a half, that's fine. But I would have taken out Carson Beck at halftime. I would have played Emery the third quarter. I would have played Luke Nickel the fourth. And I'm surprised more fans aren't upset about that, because Luke Nickel has 4 free games to play out of the 12. And we're now entering game 3, and Emery is the number 2 guy. And that was the game where if you're going to see Luke Nickel play, he's going to play. So what that says to me is, when you don't play a guy in a game like that, it says to me like Miami coaches don't want to set him back, have him lose confidence, whatever it is, which means things are not probably looking great.
Don't want an injury. Don't want to set him back. Don't want to put him out there before he's ready to be out.
It's not about injury. If Emery's the number 2 quarterback, they don't want to get someone injured. They want to use Emery.
Needed to get back on the field. He needed more than a quarter and a half. I can't believe that's all they got him. Like, he needed more than that, in my opinion.
Well, anybody can get hurt. But my point is, usually when you see a guy who doesn't play, it's because they're still developing him. He's not ready, right? Which I'm surprised no fans have mentioned Nickel once the entire week on our message boards. I was shocked. I thought people would be complaining. I want to see Luke Nickel. He's the future. Why can't we see him? Why wouldn't he have played in this game? So, I'm going to actually try to do some digging and see how he's been doing. But I was surprised we didn't see him. I was, quite frankly.
I want to thank Zach for that super chat donation he just put in. We really appreciate that. We're going to throw that in the Matt Shodell Retirement Fund. Very much appreciated, Zach. The other thing I wanted to bring up is Billy DeLulu is saying, have we talked about Marquise Williams? No, not really. And we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about him now either. I mean, he didn't make it. This is what, his 4th year, I think, on the team, 3rd year. They were having issues with him. It made no sense to keep him on the roster. He wasn't playing. He was dispatched to the portal. And now he gets to go find somewhere else where he might have a chance to play. And he certainly had opportunities at Miami, and he's been passed up by new guys. He's been passed up by transfer portal guys. There's really not a lot of positive things to really talk about with Marquise. So we'll just skip that. All right. I want to see what a sober Jake is like. Okay, usually we wait through a bottle and a half of wine. God knows what else there and all that, and by the time he comes on the show, his eyes are all glazed out and stuff. Well, I want to see what a sober Jake is like. So we're going to go to Jake next. Jake, welcome back to CaneSport Live, man. How's
it going?
What's up, Jake?
Let me switch you on the screen here.
Give you a nice wide shot there, so we can.
It's not a model photo shoot.
I know, but usually I don't get to you till at least an hour into the show.
It's an hour into it. I'm deep into the bottle by then. But we're just. Well, I swear. Do you bring everything 305 on because it's all better from that point?
He gets people riled up.
We beat that team by 6 fucking touchdowns last year. Same guy, Byram Brown. Oh my God, he's
he predicted a win at least. Let's give him that.
A nail biter, a nail biter. After we beat him by 42 on the road. Jesus.
Listen, I get it because I've been in that boat. I'm still in that boat. You don't want to expect too much because you get disappointed. I get it.
At a certain point, you either have to expect it or you just say the hell with it because it's done. It's over. We're Nebraska. It's never coming back. I did not understand to what you guys were just saying the game plan last week because I was reading things or there was chatter about Mario has great respect for the Bethune-Cookman coach, and so we're throttling it back. I mean, because we should have just clobbered that team. It was still a beatdown, but not a massacre.
Do you know how many times Bethune-Cookman blitzed Carson Beck?
I don't.
Zero.
Yeah.
Zero. They just said, listen, we're going to let you run the ball for 5-6 yards a carry, whatever you want. We're not going to mess with you, They got their payday, and Mario, yeah, you're right. He could have been mean, but he's a nice guy at his heart. He didn't want to,
Bethune seemed to not want to get annihilated. That seemed to be their game plan.
Right. 100%. 100%.
To beat them up. And so why not play the young guys? I don't get why you don't go deep into the rotation.
They did. They just didn't do it early. They did, though.
But they got maybe a quarter and a half. They didn't
I was shocked. I mean, Gary and I were saying to each other, why is Carson Beck still in the game? We couldn't understand.
Why are you going to risk
I'm watching Ruben Bain.
Ruben Bain. Why is Ruben Bain
oh
wearing his arm harness, his elbow harness?
You just lost Hayden Lowe for the season, and you've got Ruben Bain out there who has one gear, and it's all it takes is one stupid step, and then he's out.
Yeah, but listen, it worked out. No one got hurt, thankfully.
It did.
That worked out. Going too conservative in the second half against Notre Dame, it worked out. Right. Right now we've got worked outs. Okay, things are working. Things are going in Miami's favor right now. Okay. But wait 1 second, Jake. Let me just say one thing. To me, it's a trap. Okay, because when things are working out that maybe you might not have wanted to do, probably didn't need to have your best players out on the field in the second half against Bethune-Cookman. And, listen, I'm not, the coaches are doing a great job. You can't criticize the coaches, certainly. I mean, they're doing a really good job. But, to me, that was just a little bit of an error in judgment because that was a chance to develop the middle part of your roster, give them more time, and just get out of there without risking injuries to key players because they don't have a lot of depth when it comes to their key players. It all worked out. But to me, that can be a trap too if you don't have the introspection and make adjustments to what you had work out that maybe you might not have wanted to do.
I just see Stanford's probably going to be a blowout. They're horrendous, but otherwise, the schedule's shaping up to USF. We should beat the crap out of them once again. But they're probably a little bit better. Maybe Brown, who knows? Maybe we'll send him to the concussion protocol like last year. But that was a massacre on that kid. But like the point is that the schedules look a little tougher than we anticipated, and maybe SMU and Louisville aren't as good as they are, but they're not patsies, and you're not going to get a chance.
Not bad.
You're not going to get a chance to get these young kids into a lot of these games. They're going to be closer. They're going to be more contested. And so, if you're not looking to destroy Bethune-Cookman, why are you keeping your starters?
Cover the spread anyway. All the bettors lost. Anybody that's putting money down on the Canes lost last week.
Mm-hmm. I thought there was an interesting bit of psychology, and I may have read this wrong. So you guys were talking earlier. I think Matt was talking about how every player on offense is talking about this vaunted South Florida defense coming up. But was I misunderstanding that Mario Cristobal pretty much declared Miami the state of Florida champion the other day before we played any of those teams? I'm wondering.
He probably meant they can be the state of Florida champion.
Was it okay? I thought he had kind of declared.
No, Mario would never do that.
Okay, because I was like, whoa, who's this Mario Cristobal now showing a little fun and swagger? I was wondering if he was kind of putting the challenge out to the team.
It is interesting that we've covered the team for a long time. Gary was back to the 1800s, myself since 2001, and players literally used to predict, what are your goals to the national title? What are your goals for this? We're going to win this game. Clinton Portis, I literally remember Clinton Portis standing at the podium and telling every reporter that he's going to rush for 200 yards against Florida State before the game, Yeah. And now it's verboten. And Mario was part of those programs at Miami that it's like, we don't care. We're not going to be politically correct. We're going to tell you we're going to kick your ass, and then we're going to kick your ass. And I sort of like that. And I wish they would get back to it instead of, oh, God forbid I said that we were going to win the state of Florida, beat USF, beat Florida State. God forbid I might have said we were going to do that. This whole notion that other teams play better because you inspired them is such, I understand there's some psychology to it, which is why they don't want to do it. But if you can't get up for a game and get mad and be angry and do what you need to do and be violent as a football player, you need someone to tell you to disrespect you to do that. That shouldn't be necessary. And I wish Miami could get back to that, because as a reporter, it's so much fun. As fans, it's so much fun. Miami would be the talk of the town. They would have every recruit in the country wanting to come here. That's the piece that Mario loves. Recruits love hearing that stuff. So, maybe after they win a national title, then they'll get back to doing that. But I miss it.
Well, I was just like, I was very excited. That kind of disappoints me, because I thought I read that like he was putting it out there that we are, because I'm like, maybe he's trying to pump it. Because look, we are better than all three of those teams. Yep. I'm sorry, it's only a matter of time. Castellanos is like, he's a midget. He's spun wet.
But he's a leader, and that's what that team was really missing. And they have just, they've come together around him.
Is he? By the way, his 40 time. I watched him run, and I watched Byron Brown run. Castellanos is a lot faster, quicker, just pure speed, 0 to 60 speed. That guy is like a fast running back playing quarterback. Byron Brown's just like a bruiser playing quarterback who has some athleticism, don't get me wrong, but he powers over people and drags people. That Castellanos guy runs by people. So
Byron Brown's a linebacker.
He really is. But he's got some shiftiness. He does have some shiftiness.
Yeah. But he's bulky. He's like 240, I think. He's
230, 233, I think he's listed at. Yeah.
Yeah, he's hard to take down. But look, is Florida State that good, or is Alabama not the only team that can pay players anymore? And maybe they're
combination.
I'm loving it because my wife is an Alabama fan. So I'm like, yeah, welcome back to reality. Have fun with that because everyone can pay players now. So, yeah, everyone can buy Dodge Chargers for their players. Yeah, it's
probably a little bit better than a Dodge Charger.
Well, that back in the day, that was the Nick Saban Dodge Charger dealership.
Yeah. But I see a little bit better than a Dodge Charger out in the parking lot now.
Oh yeah. These days, yeah, no, these kids drive around Ferraris. Let's talk since Bethune. There's nothing to talk about much more there. This NIL thing is. How does this last? How does this
How does it last? Let me tell you, I was saying that 2 years ago, and now the budget's tripled. Like they keep throwing money at it. Of course, it's not going to go away. University of Miami. Let me give you an example. University of Miami didn't get Jeremiah Smith because they topped off at like $1 million a couple years ago, but ballpark. I don't have the exact figure, but it was ballpark $1 million a few years ago. And Ohio State was at least there, if not a little higher. Jeremiah Smith coming out of high school today, he's a $4 million player. Like the budget has gone insane.
But like at a certain point, this isn't getting funded by revenue. This is getting funded by boosters. And
no, it's getting funded by everything now. The numbers have gotten too big.
But like the university and everything, you can't. This isn't the NFL. They don't create that kind of revenue.
But let's take the University of Miami for example.
Yeah.
Do you know if you took all the small donors that donate to Cane's Connection, you're probably looking at $1 million.
Yeah, that's my point.
Wait, $1.5 million. It doesn't even buy one player. Maybe $2 million by now, but it's not a lot of money. Then you've got your big money people that are obviously throwing serious dollars into the pot. But this thing doesn't work anymore without the universities getting involved. Now you got $20 million that they're committed to revenue sharing. Okay. So the first $20 million gets paid by the university. Okay. And then the better players on the team will get supplemental dollars on top of their rev share dollars. And that's where the NIL kicks in. But the first 20 is being paid by the universities now.
But how is that even? I mean, man.
Jake's trying to say that eventually you're in the red at some of these programs. Yeah. And he's not wrong. That's why I suggested that they should make different divisions, like in European soccer, for instance, right? Mm-hmm. Because and you could have different caps for the different divisions. This is going to be $40 million plus teams, and this is going to be $20 million plus teams, and $10 million plus teams, and this Division D is going to be under 10 million teams. Because you're right, it's unfair, but Miami's in a position where, like Gary said, they can pay the people, right? They have a hospital system that's making a fortune, and that's sinking money into paying these guys. And the TV money, once that is actually, it's been restructured a little bit, but once there's a new contract, which will be 8 years from now, but once that happens, there's going to be a ton more money. I mean,
but these salary amounts keep going up, and so UHealth does make a ton of money. But it's a goddamn hospital. It's not a football program. Are they going to?
It's money that's in the revenue pool of the university. And when they're budgeting out, if they have to budget, say, $30 million for athletics, they can do that.
You've got Matt. You've got kids in college, and tuition's, I'm guessing, not cheap these days. From anything you see. How much can you keep spending on a football program that isn't bringing in revenue? It's not like the NFL where you have each team's bringing in almost $1 billion of revenue.
No, you're right. But think about it this way, right? And this is where it's heading.
And you have Title IX, so you have to pay for all the women's sports.
I understand what you're saying, but I understand. But think about it this way, right? Different programs, like for academics, right? Just take Harvard, for example. They have an endowment that's so much money just sitting there that literally they pay scholarship after scholarship out of the dividends, the interest that they make every year. That never goes away. Eventually, these programs are going to just have massive amounts of money sitting there and going to be able to pay $40 million, $60 million off that massive amount they've accumulated. And that's the ultimate end of where this is all heading, but there will be a ceiling. It can't keep going the way it's going, obviously, because programs will not be able to afford it. They'll stop trying to afford it. And if there is one program, like if Oregon, if Nike wants to spend $100 million for the next 10 years every single year or something like that, 150 million, like it's going to be hard to compete with that. And I'm shocked already that one of the oil people in Texas or something, that somebody hasn't just said, I'm giving you guys $1 billion or something,
Well, guys, they have a Texas.
They would win the national championship in 2 seconds.
I was just going to ask if, at some point, there's got to be a cap to this, or I know
there should be, but right now there's a zero cap. Somebody could literally give $1 billion and say, this is only for football for the next 3 years. I want you to spend it all and get every top player in the portal, and everyone will go in the portal at that point trying to get that money.
Jake, in the meantime, more importantly, what happened to your lights? Where'd your lights go? What the hell's going on at your house?
No, the sun's coming off the mountain, and it's just blast on.
Jake After Dark.
If you haven't noticed,
it's like a horror movie. I'm waiting for somebody to come behind him.
Jake After Dark or Jake in the Dark.
Yeah, no, the sun's just coming off the mountain, and it's just blasting through here. So,
all right, man, you got anything else for us this week?
No, that's it, man.
All right, man.
We'll see what happens.
Go listen to some Pink Floyd. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks
good.
Thanks as always for coming on the show.
3+ touchdowns.
All right.
There you go. 3+ touchdowns.
All right. The moment that we all wait for every week. That's when our man Greg comes on the show to talk to his friend Matt.
Oh my God.
Greg, are you there? Welcome back to CaneSport Live.
Yeah, Gary, Matt, how you doing, buddy? I was thrilled to see that you finally admitted you were wrong about something on CaneSport in the morning there. So Florida's not an explosive offense like you thought they were. And let me ask you another thing. South Florida, according to everything, has this great quarterback who put up 1 touchdown against Florida last week on a Hail Mary down the sideline that the guy misplayed, okay? These teams are not good. I'm sorry. Okay. Now, let me ask you, Gary, let me ask you a question now.
Uh-oh.
Okay. If Emory Williams was our quarterback from the start of the season, before the season started, how many games would you have predicted that we would win?
9.
So you predicted 10 with Beck and 9 with Emory.
Yeah, I probably would have said 9. Maybe 8, probably 9. It would have depends. Listen, I watched Emory all through camp. He's much better this year than he's been the first couple years of his career, but he still is not the consistent force that I would like to see him at this point. Like he needs to be better than what he's been than what I've seen, and that's the difference between him and Carson Beck. Arm wise, Emory can make every throw that Carson Beck can make. I mean, you saw the deep ball he threw in the Bethune game the other day.
Against Bethune, come on.
No, the point was it wasn't even completed, Greg. I'm not saying it
wasn't his fault. The guy dropped it.
But the point I'm making is it was about a ball about 50 yards down the field that was delivered right on the money. I mean, this kid can throw the football. He just is not as consistent as Carson Beck, and I don't think he sees everything as quickly as Carson Beck sees it. So I probably would have been at 8 or 9 games.
And Greg, let me ask you a question.
Yes,
I can't see you, but I imagine your face is crammed up against the camera, even though you're not on camera. That's what I'm picturing.
Yeah, I want to see you up close. Go ahead.
So I didn't really understand what you addressed to me, but you said that I didn't think Miami's offense would be good or not good compared to last year, or what? I don't understand. Florida's offense. Yeah. So I already addressed that. Okay. So you're saying you're happy that I addressed that and said they're not a good offense anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay. So I was confused because you were giving me props. You were complimenting me. I'm not used to hearing that from you. It was very confusing.
Okay. As far as recruiting, when do you think we'll start bringing in some more top flight talent?
December.
So many.
I mean, they've got what 20, I think 21 commits, something like that.
Like a few
I mean,
more,
they're
but
not in
probably
any
won't
rush
be.
right now. They're going to go whale hunting in December.
Yeah, usually what happens is they load up on commitments before the season because during the season it's tough. They're so busy with game planning, they don't have that much time to really hone in, and they try to pressure guys to commit in the summer. And then usually what you see isn't that they're like landing a lot of uncommitted guys, but they try to flip guys in November, December, because if the season goes well, they especially will target teams where the season didn't go well or where that coach is on a hot seat. They'll grab. There are going to be some new names that come onto the radar. I have no doubt about it. And I would expect they get at least another handful of commitments. You know, there's no more limit, really. Well, there's no 25 limit. You could sign 85 in a single class if you want to with the rules now. And for Miami, you could sign 105 in a single class because unlike the SEC, the ACC has allowed that roster number to go to 105 for those of you that weren't paying attention. So that's why Gary and I don't argue as much about, you know, the roster numbers and, oh, this guy shouldn't be here because he's taken a spot from a freshman. All that's gone away, which is good because now Gary doesn't have to yell at me a lot.
Okay, I'm a little confused about what you said about Hayden Lowe. Wasn't he a D end?
Played both end and tackle.
He could play tackle.
They were going to, yeah, they were, in my personal opinion, they were going to use him a lot at tackle in passing situations and not as much at end just because Armando Blunt is so good. Marquise Lightfoot is ridiculously quick off the edge. And Hayden Lowe, they need help. They needed help at tackle, you know. Is he a tackle? No, but he's strong enough and he's got such good quickness to go with that strength that in passing situations on the interior, he would have been a monster this year. I think he would have got, you know, 20 reps a game, nothing crazy, but I think we got 20 reps a game and had an impact, but we'll have to wait till next year.
Hey, let me call a timeout here for a minute. Jake, I know I see you listening. I got to bump you from the studio, okay, because we need the spot, but you can watch the show on the website, CaneSport.com, and you'll be able to get in there from the other side. So anyway, go ahead, Greg.
I believe that this guy, everything, is really a FSU fan. He can't be that stupid with these comments.
You think he's an imposter, huh?
I don't know what he is, but I just don't understand some of his takes. They're crazy. So,
what year did you start rooting for the Canes, Greg?
Me?
Yeah.
In the early 80s.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So
yeah, I'm old. I'm 70 years old. I've been watching the Canes a long time.
Yeah, so you were already like 30, 40 years old by then.
When was that?
The 80s? If you're 70 now, I'm just doing
right. So I was 26.
Who did you root for before that?
Who did I root before that? Do I have to tell you my life story? I actually been going down to South Florida since the mid 70s. My parents lived down there. Okay. So I've been down there a lot. I've been to a number of games, but now I live in North Carolina. So my game this year is going to one of the best venues in the country is Virginia Tech. I love that place. That's a great place to watch a game.
I've been there. Don't you have to climb up a hill to get there or something? I remember some crazy walk I took there.
Yeah, well, all right.
That's where Randy Shannon yelled at me in the locker room, Gary. I interviewed Randy Shannon in the Virginia Tech locker room way back when, and you were the reason why he yelled at me, Gary. You told me that I had to write a sidebar on why the run defense failed. Look up whatever year that Virginia Tech ran for a lot of yards on Miami. And Gary's like, you're doing a story on run defense. Ask him what went wrong on the run defense. So I asked him, and he got so pissed. You know, like why would I be asking about this negative thing about the game? And you know, like these coaches, man. But yeah, that's what I remember about Virginia Tech.
Okay.
And I remember Virginia Tech. This is probably why you like it there, Greg. I think they didn't. I don't know if they sell it now, but they didn't used to sell alcohol maybe at certain parts of the game, and the fans would all leave the stadium at halftime. Am I thinking about? Is this Virginia Tech or West Virginia? I'm thinking of. And they'd all be out in the parking lot. The entire stadium would empty out, and they'd be drinking their homemade liquor out in the parking lot, and they'd come back in the third quarter.
You mean the moonshine?
The moonshine.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, I'm giving you my prediction. I'm going to agree with Jake. 42-14. Anything less is is a disappointment.
So who are you picking to win the game, though?
I don't know. Take a guess. All right. Have a good.
Bye,
week.
Greg. Thanks for being nice to me. It was very
All right, Greg.
strange.
All right.
Good
Take care.
talking to you again.
Someone do a wellness check on Greg. I don't know why he wasn't mean to me today. I'm concerned.
All right, and same deal. I got to boot you from the studio, so you got to switch to the front side of the show on the website to watch. I'm going to go to a guy. Where do you go? There he is. Listen, you go out and you get a haircut and like groom yourself to come on this show. We're getting you on in the first hour. So we're going to our man Adam, man. What a makeover. What a makeover, man. I got to go wide shot. That is a makeover if I've ever seen a makeover compared to what you brought into the deal the first couple weeks.
Yeah. My wife said I had to get a haircut, so what she says goes.
All right.
A couple things. One, I briefly watched the USF Florida game last week, and it seems to me that Florida just went away from running the ball. If we pound the rock, I don't see them being able to sustain the game throughout the 60 minutes. What do you guys think?
Well, let me ask you a question first. What actor do you get compared to?
This is totally off topic. Either Elijah Wood I used to or Tobey Maguire.
Are you not Seth Rogen?
No.
Oh, come on.
Never.
You're kidding me.
No.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. Now getting back to the important things. What do you guys think that if we just, because for some reason, like Jaden Ball was like eating South Florida's lunch, and then Billy Napier does what Billy Napier does. Yeah.
I mean, you're asking about the South Florida run defense basically against Miami's running backs. Yeah, I mean, it's a clear advantage to Miami. The South Florida is going to have to do something vastly differently, and their coach talked about. I watched his whole press conference earlier today. He spoke about some of the misfits in the run game and how they need to fix some things, and they've already corrected it, right? So what they do on defense, if you watch the game, is they will put 7 and 8 in the box. But if they have a misfit, you're at the second level and there's no one left there, and now you're gone. So that's going to be a massive problem. And that's why it's so important that Jordan Lyle plays in this game, or Gerard Pringle for that matter, if Jordan Lyle's not 100%, because guys like Fletcher and Brown don't have that breakaway speed where once they hit that second level, they outrun the safety and they're in the end zone. Because this is one of those games where the run game could have a 60-yard touchdown run, a 70-yard touchdown run, right? Because they put so much emphasis on trying to stop the run at the line of scrimmage with so many guys at the line of scrimmage. I'm very curious to see, how Miami deals with it, and if they do use Gerard Pringle, because he's got the speed element that two of the power backs don't have. And if Lyle really isn't necessarily 100%, you know how Mario is; he doesn't always quite tell you everything. The fact that Lyle didn't play at all last week tells you a lot. Because with Mario, even though it's Bethune, if you go up to Mario and you say, "Oh, my leg's sort of bothering me," he's gonna be like, "You know what? Let's play it safe. You're not gonna play against Bethune." That's not Mario. Mario will be like, tape it up, put some freaking, I don't know what you put on it, super glue, super glue your tendons together and get out there, because that's what Mario did when Mario was a player, and that's what he expects out of his players. Everyone plays hurt every game.
Yeah.
So
They're getting him healthy. He'll be out there this week.
Well, that's the thing, but is he 100%, right? That's going to be the question. The fact he didn't play last week means he was more than just a little nicked up, right? He probably could not have played against other teams also, is my guess, because that's just how Mario does things. So.
Also against, and I think this was on your show or one of the articles was, do you think Heatherman's going to employ a spy on Byron Brown?
No, because they didn't at Minnesota when they played the Nevada running quarterback.
He stopped every quarterback he went against last year at Minnesota with his scheme.
Okay.
I don't think he's going to junk it up.
The other problem with the spy is now you got to put Wesley Bassins and Mo Torre are not fast enough to be spies. Okay? Wesley's gained a ton of weight. So now you're putting Dylan Day in the game, maybe as a linebacker, maybe Pruitt as a linebacker. Like, you're having a guy now that you didn't really want to have in the game anyway, because you sort of have to match up personnel wise too, and that's essentially making you a 4-3 now. which is not the system that Heatherman likes to run necessarily. And I know you could call it a 4-2-5, but usually that third linebacker in his 4-2-5 is more of a nickel, not a spy. So he doesn't run a system with a spy. He never has. He would not really be able to, I don't think, implement it in a 1 week time span and make sure his players fully understand it. And I found it very interesting also today that one of the USF offensive linemen was talking about Corey Heatherman's defense. And he said a truth, which you don't hear often from players or coaches, which is that he says this Miami defense is the simplest defense he's ever seen. And he meant it as a compliment, even though it doesn't sound like one. And what he said is they don't do anything particularly tricky, but that's because they trust that their players are going to win that individual battle every single time. And so they don't need to do anything tricky. You know, a lot of these programs that try to do this or do that or drop this guy and move that guy to confuse the quarterback, it's because they're trying to mask their weaknesses. And essentially he's saying Miami's defense coordinator feels they don't have any weaknesses. They don't need to do any of that trickery stuff.
Okay. And now on the offense of side of the ball, I was listening to Eric McLean's show on ACCN, and he said for Miami to really take off, they need that third wide receiver. You have Daniels, you have Tony. Who do you guys see like emerging as that third option, that third threat? Could it be JoJo? Could it be a Tony Johnson? Could it be I don't know who else?
It's going to be either JoJo or Keelan Marion, but
that's Keelan Marion.
Yeah, a lot will depend on JoJo's health. You know, I would have said heading into the season that Josh Moore was the X factor, but you know, dropped the pass, not getting a lot of reps. They don't seem to really trust him in games yet. But that guy athletically he's going to be a freak. He's just got to sort of figure it out. But yeah, right now my guess would be Keelan Marion's going to maybe have some long pass plays show up because he's their speed guy on the outside. And, and if JoJo's healthy, then he's the guy. Like, you know, when JoJo gets back 100%, you better watch out because you won't be talking about CJ Trader and Malachi Tony anymore. You'll be talking about JoJo Trader being the best receiver.
CJ Daniels,
which is scary for opponents to think about, right? But JoJo just never seems to be healthy.
When they get all three of those guys on the field at one time.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be nice.
Okay. Well, thanks again for taking my call. Have a great rest of the show.
All right, Adam, and tell your wife she gave you some good advice, man. You cleaned up well.
Thank you.
See you next week.
See ya.
He looks just like Seth Rogen, Gary. I'm sorry. I was forced to watch that Platonic show.
I look like, what's that guy's name?
Love it. Yeah, you look like John Lovett.
I hear that all the time. Everybody always wants everybody to look like a star. Great point here by Zach. This South Florida game is huge for strength of schedule. You win this game, you hope USF does a lot of winning this year. It'll help you at the end of the year when it's time to seed for the playoffs. Very, 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 very good point there. All right, we got Jason G on the show now. What's up, Jason? How you doing this week?
What's going on, guys? How are you?
Doing good.
So on the JoJo Trader topic, I'm getting worried. I'm getting very worried. You know, this summer when everyone was talking about JoJo, I said the guy has been healthy less than half the time he's been here. He's still not healthy now. I did not even see him at the game. And Matt, what concerns me the most is when Mario talked about JoJo, you know, when he talks about Jordan Lyle, it was, he could have gone, you know, we held him back, whatever. When he talked about JoJo, he said, you know, JoJo got banged up towards the end of the week. So he had a setback. You know, he already wasn't healthy. Right. So, and remember last year with Damari Brown? Oh, Damari's almost back.
Right, every week.
Damari played against Syracuse, and that's it.
Right. And the year before was Elijah Arroyo. I get it, but JoJo in fall camp suffered a pretty badly sprained ankle, and you know they don't want any injury information really out there about anything, which is fine. But he's one of these guys that just constantly seems to have something, and when he has something, it really bothers him to the point that he can't be productive. You know, some guys have these injuries, and they can tape it up and play through it, whatever it may be. JoJo constantly is having these little nagging things that really he can't play through. And it's very frustrating because he's the most talented receiver on the team, like period, hands down. I mean, when he's healthy. So, you know, my big issue with Mario has always been that he sort of rushes guys back. Like that's just what he does. And that's like I said earlier, that's how he was raised. That's how he played, you know, tape it up, Band-Aid it, whatever, and go out there and play, you know. You're either hurt or you're injured. There's no healthy, right? And if you're injured, you better damn well have an MRI report that shows two bones that look like this, like, or else you're playing. So you're right. For JoJo not to be able to play last weekend, for him to be missing time here or there, most of last year also. These are not just like little things. And I hope Mario rests him and lets him get fully healthy in the training room, whatever it may be, and not rush him back on the field, especially with Miami off to such a hot start. Because if I don't see JoJo Trader until game 8, I'm fine with that. I'd rather see a fully healthy JoJo Trader in game 8 than see a 50% JoJo Trader in game 4 who stays at 50%, 60%, 70% throughout the rest of the year because he's constantly having to work his way back in the training room the whole game week. So I don't want to see him play in this game. I don't know why Mario's always rushing these guys back. And not just Mario, a lot of coaches do that. But Miami's cruising right now. I don't know if they need JoJo. I don't think they need him against USF. I don't think they're going to necessarily need him against Florida. I know Mario thinks they do in both these games. But there's no more easy games in the schedule except for Stanford and Syracuse. So at some point you just got to say, hey, we got enough guys at receiver that, listen, you just do your thing, you get fully healthy, and when you are fully healthy, you will play again, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, what concerns me is if you would have told me who are the two most important guys on offense outside of Beck in the offensive line, I would have said JoJo Schrader and Elijah Lofton. And the scary part, JoJo's hurt, whatever, we just discussed.
Elijah's not fully healthy either, by the way.
Well, that's where I'm going. He either looks injured or out of shape. He does not pass the eye test at all. I mean, when he gets the ball in open space, he does not look athletic. He does not look like himself. When he got the ball last year, even in the opening game against UF, right, true freshman, he's out there. He looked like a bowling ball who could not be stopped. He was moving around. He's agile. He can, he can get horizontal, even though he's vertically moving down the field. He looked like a different person. And now he just does not pass the eye test. And I'll say it, this team, I don't know what the losses will be, but without JoJo and Elijah Lofton, 11-1, 10-2, even though, things look great right now, we're undefeated, but it's scary because those guys, Malachi Tony cannot be the best receiver on this team. He's a true freshman. He's just not good enough. Not yet, not now.
He's pretty special, man. He is pretty special.
Not to win the ACC championship. And that needs to be the goal.
You got to remember, certain guys do not play their age. Don't look at his age. He's a different type of dude, man. I'm telling you right now. This is not about him being 17. Is he going to
last the season? He's about 160. That's what it looks like. He may not actually be, but I mean, can you rely on him?
The same weight.
Yeah, that's fair. But a lot of other guys were too who had injury problems. I mean, we'll see. But yeah, and the other thing too about Malachi Tony's health is when I see Ray out there, Ray looks fast, explosive. Is there a reason that Malachi Tony needs to play all the way through like the third quarter of last game? Or to that point, any of our positions where we don't have depth, why is Keontae Scott there? We can't put Bobby Pruitt in? Bobby's a good player, What would we do if we lost Keontae Scott and Malachi Tony? I mean, it would be bad. And it's not like their backups aren't good players. I don't understand not giving those guys reps in some of these games. I even think they need to get reps in the USF game that we're going to win by more than 3 possessions, I'm predicting. And they need to get reps in the UF game too, because UF isn't good enough for the backups to not get serious reps. That's how you develop. That's how you get guys ready later in the season. That's how you prevent injury. I just don't get why we're so tight with the rotation when we have players who are good enough to be in against good teams.
Yeah, I mean,
what's the logic?
I mean, I think that coaches have to make judgments on who is the most ready to compete at the highest level, and with the stakes that Miami's playing for this year, I mean, I don't think we're going to see them rush to get a lot of guys out there if they don't feel.
But there's no stakes against USF and Bethune. I know USF is ranked. They're not
They
good.
think there
Come
are
on.
though. They think they think there are stakes because they're playing for style points also. This thing's going to come down at the end, and they're expecting to be in the playoff, and seeding means a lot. Whether you play in the first round means a lot. Do you play at home means a lot. There are stakes. There's stakes to everything, and style points do mean a lot in today's game. Now, do I think they should have had the starters out there in the middle of the third quarter on Saturday? No, I don't think they should have had the starters out there in the middle of the third quarter. But
yeah, that's all I got this week.
All right, Jason.
Not much to talk about coming off Bethune-Cookman and going into USF.
There'll be more next week.
Yep.
We'll see you then. Thanks for being part of the show, man.
Yeah.
All right, Matt. It's the time of night where we let you go to sleep.
I gotta get ready for tonight. I gotta get
We're not going to make you get up at 5 a.m. tomorrow. We won't.
We got four players talking tomorrow morning. I gotta get ready for that. I gotta at least do some research.
We won't make you get up at 5 tomorrow. We won't.
Oh, great. Wonderful.
But any closing thoughts?
I think we pretty much have covered it. My only closing thought is there a way we could do a link for the show and somehow Greg wouldn't see it? I mean, can AI come up with a way to do that? Like have a specific link and say, don't let Greg see it. Like, can we do that for the next show? Or is that a real thing? Or
oh man, Greg's a fixture. He's part of the furniture.
We love you, Greg. Yeah, no, I'm done. I'm good. I get other people on the show who actually know what they're talking about. Get rid of me. Bye, everybody.
All right, Matt. Until next time. All right, guys. That means that we are going to now usher in the voice of the fan. His name is Bruce Warner. Likes courtrooms, in case you didn't notice. I mean, put this guy in a courtroom, and he's right at home. Bruce, what's on the minds of the fans this week as we thankfully get rid of Bethune-Cookman week and we go into South Florida week?
Well, let me just start out by saying something. I want to send condolences to Bernie Kosar's father passed away. We're all Canes fans. We all know Bernie. We all love Bernie. So I just think it's right for me or whatever to send condolences to him. He's a Cane. It's in his heart. I'm listening to the first hour, and a lot of people are looking past USF, and a lot of you are looking past Florida. I'm not saying I'm doing that. I've been looking past Georgia Tech for the past 2 years, and look what happened. I think we're going to just blow them out, and they beat us 2 times in a row. So, and Gary, listen, you and I were sitting here a couple of years ago before we went to Dallas and played, what was it, LSU? Who'd we play? And they beat our brains in. Was it LSU? Yeah. So I'm done with the predictions. We play USF on Saturday. I don't think Florida is that good. I don't think USF is that good. They're well coached. They're aggressive. They have the potential, like they did last year, to make it tough. Do I think they're going to beat us? No. I don't bet, so I don't care about point spreads. But I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about us. That's what Mario says. At every one of these meetings and whatever, he's got these conferences. We don't care about that. We worry about us. And I know Heatherman, because he mentioned it, is working on some defense for these quarterbacks in the next 3 weeks. Whether it's a spy, everybody says no, I wouldn't be shocked. I know that in talking to some of the former D linemen that are my friends, they think they're going to make this guy sit in the pocket. They might not go after him, but they're going to make him be a throwing quarterback and try to contain him and not get out of the pocket. I think that's probably what they're trying to do. Their pass rush could be somewhat over-aggressive. You saw Carr, he took a few up the middle and they got a touchdown out of one. We saw Brown last year. He's dangerous. And he's dangerous running and then throwing off the run. So we've got to be really careful. And another thing I'm concerned is that everybody's talking about you and these guests getting these young kids in. But again, when I talked to Leon, he said to me, Bruce, the defense, those guys as 11, as a unit, haven't played it down yet. Now they've played 2 games, but they're not cohesive. They don't have the ability to look and say, this guy's going to be over here. I worry about gap integrity. That's something we've been blowing for years, gap integrity. I got that from Greg Mark. So I have concerns about this. Do I think we're going to lose? Absolutely not. I think I have way too much firepower. I mean, USF,
Well, that-
18 stinking points. They're not that good. They're okay. They're good, but they're not that good.
I put it up on the screen. Zach says, is USF good or is Boise State and Florida very overrated? I mean, we'll find out Saturday. We don't really know the answer to that
Oh, you
question.
said FSU. You mean USF.
USF, yeah. Is USF good or is Boise State and Florida very
They're good.
overrated?
They're good. I think they're going to play really tough. They did last year for a while, but then we blew them out. I think our defense is a million times better than last year. So I'm expecting them to come out with fire in their heads, the Canes, and punch them in the mouth and take care of business. I'm not going to sit there and talk about scores because I don't know, but I don't think they're going to beat Miami. I don't think they're going to be within 10 points in the fourth quarter.
Ian Killian wants to know what happened to Charles Brantley. No, he's just not good.
Oh, he's not good.
He's too small. Like he was a big mistake in the portal.
Yes, he was.
I mean,
Yeah,
as big a mistake as you can make. I mean, they did listen. They did a great job in the portal this year. They hit a lot of home runs. This one wasn't even a bunt single. Okay,
Sure.
This was a huge mistake. I don't know how he played so much football in the Big Ten last year. Just could
What
not.
was he? Was he a nickel?
He was a corner. I think he played
Oh,
corner.
well,
Yeah, I mean, he played a lot of ball for Michigan State.
Yeah, he did. And the other thing is this Heatherman. I mentioned him a few minutes ago. What a difference. I mean, this guy is, you see him on the sidelines? It's like he must lose 30 pounds of sweat. He just doesn't
Brings
stop.
a lot of energy to the deal.
A lot of energy,
And
yeah.
he's a great teacher nothing but positives for Corey Heatherman. All right, I've been getting hit by Jamaica Kane, who tells me we're not going to believe who he is. It's hard to know who he is because he doesn't have his camera on, but our curiosity's peaked anyway. So Jamaica Kane, welcome to CaneSport Live. Who are you?
Gary.
Ross.
What's up, Gary?
Is this really you?
It's me.
Ross, where have you been? I mean, honestly, people have been asking me about you. I said, we have not heard from Ross in 2 years. I hope he's healthy. I hope he's alive. But I don't know where he went. And here you are. You're back. What's up, my man? Where you been?
Did you see the title? What it say?
You been in Jamaica?
No, I'm in the DR, Dominican Republic.
Oh, okay. So why are you calling yourself Jamaica Kane? You should be DR Kane.
No, I'm Jamaican, man. So I've always had that title, and I have another title on the Spaces. But you don't know that because you don't get on the Spaces, Gary.
On the Spaces? Nah, I don't do Spaces.
How come we
Yeah,
can't see you, Ross? What's going on?
Nobody sees me, man. You just know I exist. But
I
I watch you all the time. I watch you all the time on Kane's Lock with what's his name? So
Alex.
I see you too. Yeah, with Alex.
And you
Gary, what's up, man?
Russ, where you been? So what you've been in? So you've been in the DR? Like what?
Yeah. I'm in the DR. But here's the thing, man. I'm mad that you let Matt go, man, because I wanted to get at him about something. He's still on this. We're not good at this and good at that, but you let him go. So
Matt turns into a stone crab at 9 o'clock at night.
I watch you guys in the morning time too.
So talk to us, man. What do you think? You got a lot of catching up to do here, so I'm going to give you the floor for a minute. What do you think? What's on your mind?
Hey, man, for me, I think it's just a matter of I think these guys they're gonna come back out like they did last year. They're going to try to run a decent amount of plays, trying to speed us up. But for us, I just think we're going to stop them. They're going to get plays. They're a college football team. Everybody gets scholarships too, but they're not as good as us. And I think all this hype about ranked teams. Did you look at the Florida game? How much mistake Florida made? How many mistakes Florida made? Touchdown, call back. Touchdown, call back. Guys spitting on guys.
Yeah.
All these undisciplined plays, Gary. So think about it. We're not going to do half of that. We're going to lean on them, Gary. We're going to lean on them some more. Again, they might get 13. They might get 13 because they're going to be amped up. They're going to do some things, and we're going to eventually. If we go up 10, it's a wrap.
Yeah, like to me, the big thing is like, as good as this kid is as a dual threat quarterback, you kind of know what's coming, So you can scheme for that. Miami will be well prepared on the defensive side of the ball for this game. And if they shut down,
they do hurry it up though. They speed that game. But that's
But you know what? If you notice against Florida, they didn't do as much speed as they usually do. So maybe they're not going to be as fast about it, but maybe they are. It doesn't matter to us. We have a defense this year. We have a smart defensive coordinator. We got bigger and stronger and better players.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is he going to make contact with a few of our players and knock them down a little bit, and they're going to have to drag? He's going to do that because that's what he do every game. But he doesn't want to see number 1. He doesn't want to see number 10. He doesn't want to see Bassane every play. He don't want that. He doesn't want that type of collision. So, Gary, my prediction, I said it before, I say it again, like 28-13. Probably, I probably will go 30.
I think Miami will get in the
yeah.
30s in this game.
Yeah, they're getting the
If
30. We're
they
getting
don't
the
shut
30.
it down, if they don't shut it down too early again.
We're getting the 30s. And if it gets out of control, we might put more than a 50 burger on them.
I don't care. Just win.
Just win. I understand that, but again, man, and Gary, you know me, I'm always, always in the past, I always wanted to see us looking like an outfit. I finally got that. I finally got that, man. We looking like an outfit.
They got to 27 points in a little more than a half against Notre Dame. Notre Dame's got a better defense in South Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Not even close, South Florida defense. Not even close. We're going to lean on those front guys so much. And then they like to bring a lot of people in the box. So we're going to love that. And this is what he said something. I don't know if it was you, Gary, because I'm going to get on you too. Did Matt call my tight end slow? Did he call? What is he looking at?
It wasn't Matt. It was you talking about Lofton? Yes. It was God. Who said he was slow? It was, oh my God. It was our last caller, wasn't it?
Yeah, the last guy that got his hair done.
Yeah, Adam.
I don't know what he's. And some of these guys, and I'm not getting on them or anything, but I'm saying some people just want to see everything all at once. That was a good catch, couple of good catch. Get up to feel like he's supposed to. Didn't need any speed there. Just make the catch and make the play.
Yeah, he will. That kid's a beast.
Yeah.
He will be heard. I got to think sooner rather than later.
Yeah, he's
what you did
blocking too, though. He's in for blocking a lot, which he probably shouldn't.
And he did an excellent job of that. He did an excellent job. And look what happened with our other two tight ends. How good they look. I don't care if it's against Bethune-Cookman. The fact that we have guys in the past.
Luka Gilbert is going to be a superstar.
Yes,
like,
very good. Very good.
He is going to be great.
He's going to be very good, man. But hey, man, I ain't going to take too much of your time. Hey, dude, D Black be coming on your show?
We haven't seen D Black in a while either, man. We got to wake him up too. We expect to see him more often now, Ross. Now that you've come back from the dead, I don't know what happened to you.
I ain't died, Gary. I'm so busy, man. I'm doing a lot of different things. I didn't know if you knew this when I was your call, but I do a lot of basketball stuff, man. I do a ton of basketball stuff. So I also have the luxury of doing it from the yard too, and I take flights every now and then. But yeah, I just wanted to surprise you a little bit, man.
Yeah, man, nice surprise. Yeah. Come back more often, man. Good talking to you.
All right, I'm gonna listen to the rest. Hey, nice to meet you at least voice-wise, my man. All right, so Gary, real talk, man. I'll call it. I can't promise you next week, but I'll call back. You know that.
All right, man. Thanks for being part of the show.
You know what, Gary? I want to see Lyle getting. He's going to play. I want to see Lyle in the flat. Get a couple of swing passes and let the linebacker try to stop him. We don't have to run the ball up the middle.
Hey, they know that they have a superstar in Lyle. They're just making sure he's healthy. There was no reason to play him last week. All right, let's go to K-Mac. What's up, K-Mac? Welcome back to CaneSport Live.
What's going on, Gary? What's going on? And that was Jason G that said about Lofton being a little slow.
Oh, yes, you're right. Thank you.
Yeah, because that caught my ear as well. I didn't know what he was talking about, but I think if anything, I don't think it's slow. Yeah, I think Lofton maybe he's just a little bit out of game again. He looked out of rhythm, man. I think he's looking for the ball a little bit more. Has been a little disappointed, but he'll pick it up, man. Winning cures everything. I'd say it like that. Winning cures everything. What's going on, Mr. Warner?
How are you, buddy? Good to see you.
I'm doing good. Doing good. I think we want to save Wayne Link tonight, Bruce, man. Just win. I don't give a damn about all these win by 45 and style points. A win by 1, I'd rather talk about explaining that than a loss by 5 to anybody.
Well, when we were up 21-7 against Notre Dame, I'm sitting here watching the game, and I'm thinking we're going to blow them out. And after it was 27-24, I get up the next morning, like must have been like 5 after 7. Mark Caesar calls me up. I told you, we have to win. I don't care if it's 1 point. I thought we should have blown them out. We should have blown them out. And after we had the pick by Bain, we were inside the 20. We could settle for a field goal. See, that bothers me because somewhere along the line, that's going to come back to bite us in the rear end. Yeah, we win. I don't care. Look, if we win 12 and we win by 1 every game, I'd rather have that than 11 blowouts and 1 loss. Yeah. But I think we're good. But everybody's looking past the Gators because they lost the USF. I'm not. If they beat LSU this weekend, you know they're going to come down here, you know, piss and vinegar because they think they could beat us. So I'm hoping LSU beats the daylights out of them this Saturday.
Hey, and my thing is just respect every opponent, man. Yeah, I don't want it. I don't want the kids feeling like they can look past them, you know, and also look, respect the opponents coming in, play ball the way you're supposed to play ball, you know, do what you're supposed to do and let things fall in. But for me, like I said, I'm just looking for the victory. I don't need the style points. One thing I do want to lay to bed, I've been chewing at the bit all night. I've been hearing it. From a defensive standpoint, I'm going back to the Bethune-Cookman, and I'll get away from it as soon as I'm done. Defensive wise, I think we should definitely have had second and third stringers in on our defense by the middle of the second quarter. No doubt. We knew we were going to win that game.
Quarter or second half?
Second quarter for the defensive guys.
But they rotated. You didn't see that? They were in there.
No, they did. And I'm saying the rotation.
The starters played too long. They did.
Yeah, I agree 100%. The starters were on the field too long.
You said the second quarter. Those guys were still in the game. There was backups in the second quarter. They were.
Okay, then I missed it. I thought I still saw starters, but I still saw Bain and these guys in the third quarter.
But the frontline guys like Bain, Mesidor, Carson Beck, Mark Fletcher, like those kind of guys were in the game way too long. I don't disagree.
And Beck, and I agree that Beck was in the game too long. But here's what this is my thing. This is why I don't understand. Defenses are usually ahead of the game.
He just can't come out because they're winning by 30. He's got to learn who his receivers are. What are they going to do when the play breaks down? See, Cam Moore could improvise, and he was amazing. But these guys don't know if they run a route and the ball's not there. He's got to know what they're going to do. They're young. I don't know what they're going to do. Can they block? I don't know. Now we've seen 2 games, and really, you know, another game we could have beaten their brains in, but we didn't do it. We're lucky we got the ball back and right down the field to score a field goal. But I'm more worried about the cohesiveness of all 22 guys playing than getting young guys, because the young guys are playing. A lot of our players are young, period. They're young, right?
Right.
So wide receivers do we have? Daniels, that's it.
Yeah, so Bruce, you're stealing a little bit of my thunder. So going back to it. Defensively, we know what we have in our starting defense. We can't afford to lose some of those guys. Defensively, I think we're in a great spot. I don't think they needed to play 2 full quarters. I'm fine with it. But come third quarter, there's no reason for any defensive starter to have been on that field. Stop there. Offensive wise, this is where I agree with you, and this is where I'm going at it with friends of mine. You know, my family members. I got some family members that are Canes fans. This is where we go at it.
You're on this show; they're not. So what you say goes. Just tell them I was on the show.
That's right.
Right. Go ahead.
But offensively, those guys have to get a rhythm. They have to understand each other's patterns, movements. When Beck comes out of the pocket, they need to understand what he's doing. I don't have a problem with Beck and the starters on the offensive side of the ball being out there just a little bit longer to get that rhythm and that understanding. It's different with the defense, but offensively, we know how important it is with timing. If you're just going to mesh people down the middle, that's one thing. But when you're talking about being able to get your tight ends involved, get your running backs in the flat, when you want to talk about quick screens, quick slants, or dig routes, you guys better have your damn timing on, or you're talking about interception turnovers at an inflated rate. And so for me, I
think our defense, because if you look at all 11 of them, how many games did they play as an 11 unit before the Notre Dame game? Zero.
Right, and same thing with the offense. Same thing with the offense.
I don't think he needs to stay in there 3/4 of the game. The receivers They have like 8 or 9 of them. They're all making plays. They're all doing well. There's a drop here or there. But in the offensive line, I don't care if they put in substitutes. They're blowing some of these teams off the line of scrimmage. But the defense needs to play cohesively. Look what they had last year. They had a disaster. They were horrible at linebacker, horrible in the corners. The safeties were bad. The D linemen, they were stunting. They couldn't get up the field. So Heatherman comes in. He says, I'm wiping all that crap out. See that quarterback? Kick his ass. That's what they're doing now.
Well, I think we have a difference.
But I think they need to play as a unit because South Florida is going to come in with tricks because their coach is smart. I don't know about the Gators yet. I don't have an opinion on that. I'll have more of an opinion after LSU. And Florida State, I'm worried about them up there at night. And that kid is good. I didn't think he was so great at Boston College, but he looks pretty damn good now. So
he was pretty good. He's not a better team. He's got better athletes around
now
him.
He does. Absolutely. He does. He has better talent around him. That's what's making him. And again, I think their head coach, I can't remember his name, but the FSU head coach, I think his scheme is perfect for his skill set. Yeah, his scheme is perfect for Castellanos' skill set. It's a beautiful pairing. So with that, but like I said, and I get your point. I'm not gonna disagree with your point. I just feel like Bain doesn't care what the corner does. Bain doesn't need to know what anybody in the backfield is doing. He knows his job is to set that edge or to get after the damn quarterback. So when you talk about needing to have that timing together from a defensive line and your corners and your secondary standpoint, I don't think you guys need to know anything. If you're playing, regardless if you're playing man or playing zone, if I'm not dropping back, my job is set the edge or get that quarterback. And so I don't think that you need that cohesiveness as much as the linebacker. But again, when you're talking about your offensive guys, timing is everything on every level. Even handing the damn ball off can be a disaster if you don't have your timing right. Getting from under center fast enough, getting to the spot that you're expecting your running back to go. So for me, the timing with the offense has to be key because your scheme with the defense sometimes will help patch up some of the things that you don't have maybe timing wise. I think the scheme helps to kind of cover those up. But when you're talking about scheming on the offense, I don't care what your scheme is on offense. If your timing is off, if this guy is if he's doing a 5-yard post, there's no way if I'm thinking he's doing a 3, your time is not right. Then it turns into a turnover. So for me, the offense needed the time. For me, was just to get the gelling together.
Beck wasn't here in the spring, but I got to tell you something. 22 out of 24. Are you kidding me? I mean, that guy puts the ball on the money, even in tight areas.
Very accurate.
He is.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
He's not as dynamic as Cam Ward. There might not ever be somebody like Cam Ward. I've never seen anything like it in my life.
Right.
But Cam Ward,
I agree.
We didn't know this because they beat the hell out of Gators last year, but their defense went shh. It was like a torpedo going down. It didn't
he's not
good.
as showy as Cam Ward, but he's
good.
Certainly.
Oh, no, he's good. Oh, no doubt.
He's effective in a different way.
Oh, no doubt. He's not a Cam. I mean, anybody will tell you that. But in this stance, like I told you, we don't need Cam Ward. We don't need that right now in terms of what he's doing is what the offense needs. And it actually leads into my next part is, to me, the most important about the offense is not necessarily, and Gary, we talked about it last week, sometimes it's not always about scoring points as it is just get some first downs, take some time off that clock, but get your defense, make sure they have rest. Because if South Florida does go to their tempo that they like to run, you cannot have multiple 3-and-outs in a row. You can't have that defense on the field for 9 and 10 minutes at a time because your offense can't stay on the field. So first downs,
downs
are going to be key.
That's their problem. And Gary knows that I know that Heatherman's working on something. They're working on speeding it up. They're going to be okay. I'm not that worried about it. I'm just not. I'm not that worried about it at all. I think they'll surprise us. They'll run some things. Look, fumbles, stupid penalties, bad refereeing, that could cost us.
Right.
That could cost us. And we don't know about that, But again, I'm looking at the scheme of this whole thing. And the other thing is, I think everybody has bought in. Markeith obviously had some issues. He's out. But I think everybody has bought into what they're doing. I love the coaching staff. I like all the changes. And I'm friendly with Damien.
I agree.
I talked to him before the season started. I knew that the defense was going to be significantly better. Now, when you talk about that, you guys, and the guys that are watching or listening, I think the defense is going to take the ball away way more than last year. Last year, Cam Ward had to go 70, 80 yards every time he had the damn ball. and he still scored a lot of points. I don't think we're going to have to drive.
The interception Fitzgerald had the other day was
Yeah.
that was a big time play. That was nice.
Hell of a play. The way that Bain hustle to get to the ball, Damari hit the ball and it popped up, and those are the things we didn't see last year. We hardly saw any defensive players near the football last year. It was terrible. So we don't have to score 40 points a game. The defense,
look at. And that's a part of my right, and that's a part of my point. I don't think we need to score 40 to win the game, but I do know this though. But Bruce, I do know this. We better have sustained drives. I don't give a damn about necessarily always getting points on every drive, but you better sustain drives. 6, 7, 8, 3 and outs is not going to get it done.
I don't think
it's not going to get it done.
And I know also, Gary knows also, they're running the ball, they're running it up the gut. Last week against Philly, we're throwing it to the sides. They're setting everybody up. They want those safeties to come up and they'll go over the top. I like Dawson. I love Heatherman. I love all the coaches he brought in. There's passion. They're younger. Identify with them, and it shows on the football field. They're playing hard. If they make a mistake, they're being aggressive. If they make a mistake, they make a mistake.
Right.
What did you?
All right, K-Mac, thanks a million for coming on the show again this week, and hopefully we'll see you again next week.
Thanks, bud. All right, Bruce. All right, Gary.
Take care, buddy.
Gary,
did you really think that was a targeting? I'm saying, or it just was a fluky play? The guy was turning around.
The horrible call.
Horrible call, right?
Horrible call.
He didn't launch.
Yeah, it was terrible. Let's go to Kane.
Oh, Kane.
Hey, I ain't got nothing to say.
You woke up from your nap.
No, I had to go run and make some errands, man. I had to go do some things. I was off this evening. Hey, Blue, man, I always see you on Dano, man. You be speaking the truth. Shout out. You don't hold back. So here's what I'm gonna say. Ain't no whole lot. Ain't no whole lot to say. Ain't a whole lot to do. Damn USF, damn Florida, damn FSU. Get back to the old Canes, which we can't. But the way this team is playing, just play. And them point spreads, that's for the gamblers. I don't gamble like that. Like the man said, win by one, just win.
Yeah.
So, I ain't making no big hoop. I'll be there, Gary. I'm going to try to make the cane walk. I couldn't make it last time. I ain't had no raincoat. And I had to come back to Virginia Beach and go to work. So I ain't getting sick. Hey, but Blue, keep doing your thing, man. I know you're retired, but I'm not
Bluestein, I'm Bruce.
I meant Bruce, but you still keep doing your thing. You keep popping up all the time on Dano. You say you won't showing up, but you come back. That's because you love the Canes. Got all the respect in the world for you. I know you've been through a lot. I heard all the things you've been through. I hope things get better with your family and everybody else. Gary, I'm going to try to see you this Saturday. But, hey, go Canes. I ain't got a lot to say. I'm out.
Man. Cane walk.
Enough, man. Good job.
All right. Thank you.
2:30. 2:30 on
Saturday. 2:30. Got it. Plane come in. My plane get there at 7 a.m. I'm good. Peace.
All right, Kane. Thanks for coming on, man. And
thanks. Isn't he usually at work when he's on the show?
Fitting us in his busy night. What'd you say?
Isn't he usually at work when he comes on here?
Yeah. I guess he's off tonight. Let's go to Armando Izagari. I hope I got that right.
You got it right, Gary. Hey,
Gary. It's Izagiri. What's up, my man? How you doing this week?
Yes. I got a few items that I wanted to address. I'm pretty sure Bruce is going to appreciate some of the things I have to say. I think that the language that we are using on a weekly basis here on CaneSport, especially in the mornings over the past few years, has to change. The SEC player, the whole, SEC brand of football, it gets me sick every single time I hear somebody say, oh, that team is built like an SEC team. It's pure propaganda. In the 90s, it wasn't SEC football. Steve Spurrier owned the SEC in the 90s. He won, 6 conference championships? It was Florida football, not the University of Florida.
They didn't have Oklahoma. They didn't have Texas. There's a difference.
We were fast to Miami, Florida, Florida State. We owned college football.
We did.
We owned the BCS era. We owned the 90s. We owned the 80s. We owned the early 2000s. It's Florida football. We've got to stop saying SEC. Every single time I hear us say SEC football, I just want to vomit in my mouth because I'm just like, what are they saying? It's like we're just perpetuating the lie that ESPN is just giving us. It was just SEC. I understand they've had some success, but I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they've manipulated their schedule over the last 2 decades with their 8 conference games. as opposed to everybody else. But yeah, that's just one of the things that I want to talk about. One of the questions that I had for you guys is it feels to me when I'm watching Miami Hurricanes, especially in the run game, I felt like in the Notre Dame game, I think it's kind of blown out of proportion that Miami got too conservative. I feel like Mario really wanted to put his stamp on the game and win running the ball down the throats, a lot like what Nick Saban used to do when that dynasty, the Alabama dynasty started. I mean, they would just run the ball down their throats and people could not stop him. And I think that he wanted to do that, but for whatever reason,
Yeah, but let them back in the game. I mean,
yeah,
that was the only
yeah,
problem with it.
yeah, that's the only problem. And the concern that I have is, watching, this Mario brand of football is it feels like the running game isn't that explosive, compared to like the Rhett Lashlee, where it was a much more fast pace. And we had more explosive touchdowns. I put up the stats for explosive runs, and it's comparable. Like if you pull up 20-yard runs, but it feels like it just kind of remembering over the past few years, like where the running game just isn't the same anymore. Even some of the long touchdowns last year, you don't see guys breaking into the field and
Yeah,
scoring.
we say that, but the stats don't support that. Like Miami averages in the top 5 in the country in yards per carry with its run game.
But a lot of it feels like it's a cloud, 3 yards in the cloud of dust that turn into 5
At
or 6
times
yards.
it does, but then they'll pop off a 20-yarder that'll offset it. I mean, the stats support what they're doing. Everybody wants to change it. Too conservative, too much between the tackles. 76% of the run plays are between the tackles, but they don't change it because what they're doing is effective. And
Right.
I don't think we're going to see a change.
Well, I'm not advocating for a change, but for whatever reason, I would like to see, when we're in that game against North, when Clinton Portis and Frank Gore, I mean, we put in our 2s and our 3s, and they were scoring 70-yard touchdowns. We're just that much better than them.
Yeah,
That's
but that was
kind
the greatest team in the history of college football. So you can't really say that. That was so unique. It's not even funny. But you know what? We're winning. Last year, the defense cost us games. I mean, we were losing 35-10 to Cal. Are you serious? What Miami team in the 80s, 90s ever gave up? By the third quarter, we were down 25 points. Last year, if it wasn't for Cam Ward, I don't know where we would be or what would have happened. I'm still very upset about blowing that 21-0 against Syracuse on the road, no less. But look, I understand you can't make it exciting for everybody. You can't throw bombs all the time. But I trust Beck. I trust Dawson. I'm trusting Heatherman. I like what they're doing. Do I think they were too conservative against Notre Dame? Yeah. And maybe if they had that same spot again, whether it's this week or Florida State, they may change it a little bit because they have a lot of confidence in that quarterback, the offensive line, the runners, and now the wide receiver. So, it was good. How do you say it, Gary? Bauman or Bowman? I think it's Bauman, but I keep hearing Bowman all the time. The tight end.
Oh, Bauman.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's solid. He's not flat.
He's solid. He's not. He's good.
I think Luka Gilbert is going to be a dude. I really do.
Yeah, he's good. He's got that length. He's kind of like Jimmy Graham, but he's good. He's really good.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that this run game really picks up. I would really like to see a little bit of that, Mario ball where we just, pound the guys, pound the ball down their throats. And maybe not against USF. I think we're just going to outmatch them, but maybe go into.
You're going to see pounding every game. Mario's not letting the game go by where his O-line isn't going to pound.
You know what, Gary? I think maybe because our 2 backs that played the other day can't really take it to the house on any down, but Lyle can. If he's healthy, you're going to see a little difference in that running game with him. If he's in the game, they got to look out.
Pringle took one.
I want to see Mario bend somebody as well. I want to see this line just make a team fold. When I see that, that's when I'm going to be happy because
I would tell you, we'll tell him for you,
so
but Mario doesn't need to be told that for sure. He doesn't need any encouragement in that front.
Okay, Garrett. Thanks. I appreciate it.
All right, Armando, man. Thanks for coming on the show, man.
Have a good night.
See you next week, hopefully.
Yes, sir.
All right, my man. All right, Bruce, what we're going to do now, if anybody else wants to get on the show tonight, now's a good time. Pop yourself into the studio. We're going to catch up on some of these comments, on some of the and questions.
Can I make a quick comment first, Gary? Dwayne Starks and Louis Oliver are having an event at the Hard Rock a week from Friday. It's the day before the Miami Gator game. So they have created this thing, and I thought it was just me or whatever because I got an invite. But these are the people, if you're a Gator or a Cane fan, going to be there. Channing Crowder, Clinton Portis, Mel Bratton, Eric Rett, Mike Pouncey, his brother Pouncey, Benny Blades, Javon Curse, Lito Shepard, Ray Lewis, Fred Taylor, Michael Irvin, Emmett Smith, Andre Johnson, Edgerrin James, Bernie Kosar, Steve Spurrier, and Tim Tebow. Now, if you're a fan of either one of those two teams, it starts like 4:30 at the Hard Rock and over in Hollywood or Davie, wherever it's at. That's a pretty exciting thing, and I'm glad I want to help Dwayne because he's my friend. So you guys should go out there. You're not going to have an opportunity to see these guys in one place, that's for sure. And these are just most of the guys, but not all of the guys.
All right. Youssef, okay, he says, is Emory better than Luke or Coleman? Okay, this is an interesting thing because, like, Luke is a true freshman this year. He is just getting started, okay? Yeah. Emory is massively further ahead than Luke right now. It doesn't mean it's going to stay that way,
right.
But Emory's got a couple years of college football under his belt. He's been in games. He's game planned for about 27, 28 games now. He's been in the middle of the game planning and the action and getting ready for games.
He beat Clemson. He could have beaten Florida State. I mean, we were down 7 and he got hurt. That's a hell of an accomplishment.
Well, this is a better team now than it was then too. But like the point I'm making is that like Emory is, whether people want to accept it or not, is just further along. Darian Coleman is a very nice high school quarterback, a good young prospect. You think he's walking in here in January ready to be the quarterback for the Miami Hurricanes? Are you kidding me? Not even in the stratosphere, okay? So Luke is going to be a good quarterback, okay? I'm not making any predictions on how good yet. It's too soon. But he does show a lot of ability. Emory shows a lot of ability. If I had to make a bet right now, it would be that neither one of them is the starting quarterback for Miami next year.
Might not be Emory either, for all we know, the way this has been going. Who knows?
Yeah, and along those lines, Lito Kane, he wants to propose a CJ Bailey. Now, CJ Bailey's doing a nice job at NC State, no argument. But I'm not willing to say that he's going to be in the top couple quarterbacks available in the portal either. We just got to wait and see who ends up being there and who earns their way to the upper echelon to where they can command the $3 million NIL deal. CJ Bailey is not commanding a $3 million NIL deal.
No, and I think Mario's used to getting the best quarterback available 2 years in a row.
Yes. And I think Miami is going to need to be in that market again next year. They have a very tough schedule. They got to go on the road to some very tough places.
Yes, they do.
South Carolina, Notre Dame. You better have a quarterback that's been there and done it a little bit for next year. So,
let's hope that Emory gets a lot of opportunities this year and he takes advantage of it. So we have a lot less to worry about going into next season. But questions like this, I don't even want to discuss it. Who's going to be the starter next year?
Yeah. Well, people do want to look that way. People are always looking forward in that regard. Mrs. G15, still no carries for Lofton. Well, I mean, he can go back there and take handoffs. They haven't chosen to use him that way yet. He's had a couple receptions. Elijah Lofton has not been featured yet.
Right.
It's got to be coming. Okay, he's too good of a player. They got a lot of big games coming up here, and I gotta believe that that's
He'll
gonna
get
happen.
the ball. He'll get the ball.
Luis Delgadillo, he's looking for some Jeff Bezos, Dana White NIL donations. I don't think Miami will turn that down if that happens. It's an interesting one. Someone's suggesting DJ Lagway might go into the portal next year.
Well, we'll see how good he is. I didn't watch the game the other day, so I don't know what's going on with him.
He hasn't earned his way to anything yet,
and he's hurt. And he got re-injured with a separate injury than the first one, so he could be hurting. You know,
yeah, I mean, I think he's been hyped up a lot, but I don't believe that he's earned his way to the top of the portal yet at all. Chris Gauntz, my man, he's saying hard to believe Malachi Tony is only 17. It is absolutely stunning that this kid, who should be a high school senior right now, walked out there in his first college game ready to play. And the offense against Notre Dame, the key plays in the game were built around his skill set.
And he also reclassified, right? He should still be in high school. He's 17. Wow. Now, I don't know how long he's going to last. He is slight. He's very frail looking. You know, at any moment, he could be out for like 3 or 4 weeks, but I don't wish that on him. The kid's a good kid.
J.R. Barr, he's taking notice of Dalen Upshaw. Let me tell you something. Through training camp, of all the receivers, this kid consistently every day probably made more plays than anybody. Okay? He is a rock-solid football player. I think he's got 1 catch so far this year. You have not gotten to see a lot of him, but they know he's a guy they can put out there on the field, and
he can stretch defense too, that kid.
Yeah, I mean, he's not dynamic or anything like that. He's not going to wow you in any way, but he is just so consistent, and
you could say the same thing about Restrepo. Nothing that excites you, but the kid he's constantly open. He's making clutch catches for 4 years. And that's what you need. You need somebody that you can count on. Not somebody that's going to catch a ball and then drop 3.
J-Bar again, J.R. Bar, JoJo's never been a competitor. Bruce, they need JoJo Trader.
Contributor, it says, not competitor.
Yeah, contributor. Yeah. They need JoJo Trader at some point here to start contributing. There's no, this offense can't maximize itself without JoJo Trader getting into the mix. Yeah. We're talking about a kid that they were counting on to be, wide receiver 1 coming into this thing this year.
Yeah, a hell of a bowl game too.
Yeah.
But if he's nicked up, he's nicked up. And we've had guys like that over the years. Nicked up, can't get on the field, can't stay there.
Well, they put him out there in the Florida game, but if you notice, everything was mostly straight ahead running. Right. His ankle wasn't ready for a lot of cutting, and then last week they didn't play him. So we'll see what happens this week. I
heard he's going to play.
Yeah, I heard he's going
to start.
I mean, he played week 1 when a lot of people were saying he wasn't going to play, and but playing and being JoJo Trader are 2 different things. And for JoJo to be able to play his game, he needs to be able to do more than just run fly patterns.
Well, if he's out there, I'd throw him the ball in the first series. Let him get a little confidence, get him a little experience, let him get the jitters out of him, get him the ball if you can. If he's open, I would make a conscious effort to do that. Kid like that.
Ghostface has taken notice of Chase Smith. I'll tell you, man, that kid looks like $1 million, Bruce.
Yep.
Chase Smith is a good-looking football player. I'm glad he's getting some reps this year. We'll see, how it goes as the season goes on, but he deserves to be out there. He is paid.
And he's making plays. He's been around the ball constantly.
Yeah, but he's he's gone through a lot of injuries and through the last few years, and has had to rehab a lot. Deserves to be out there. I'm glad he's healthy now, and he is getting playing time. Mohamed Toure, though, is a guy that has the potential to be a real playmaker for the defense this year. And I'm a little surprised that we haven't seen more of it these first couple weeks. Not quite sure why.
He's made some plays, but when you're playing linebacker, you're at the mercy of the 4 guys in front of you. He just doesn't know that's what I said about the continuity. He doesn't know what they're going to do. Back in the day when Barrow and Jesse and Darren were back there, and you had Cortez and Russell, you knew what was going to happen. They were going to collapse the pocket, And those three guys were free to roam around and make tackles. He's not there yet. He's a transfer. He didn't play last year. He's still getting his feet wet, but he's athletic and he's got some pop to him. He hits people and they go down. He hit the quarterback. What did he hit? Carr? Right in the stomach he hit. I thought he was going to kill the kid. But, he's getting his feet wet too.
Yeah, I saw enough of him through training camp to be able to tell you. I'll tell you guys, he's a very good football player.
Mm-hmm. And his teammates love him too.
Yeah, no doubt. He just hasn't been in the middle of the fray a lot these first couple weeks. At some point, that's going to change. He's way too active, way too good.
Yeah.
All right, so Bruce, South Florida coming in this weekend, and certainly no reason and can't look ahead to the Gators. I think that victory last week in Gainesville was the best thing that happened to Miami because now they know they have to prepare for this game and can't take anything for granted. I'm expecting a really laser-focused, well-prepared football team to show up there on Saturday. Your thoughts?
Couldn't agree with you more. Not only that game, but the Boise State game. So now you've got two tapes to watch, and they're underdogs in both games. I agree. I think Miami is going to be laser-focused. The defense is going to be even sharper. I think they're going to go after this kid. They're going to cut him down. He may run for 60 yards or something like that. But I think they're going to try to make him a pocket passer if they contain him in there. Again, with the scores, I think Miami's going to beat the spread. What is it? Now I just saw it went up to 17.5 from 16.5. I think Miami scores in the 30s, and they may get out of the teens. But they scored 18 against the Gators. They're not a prolific offense. They're just not.
Yeah. And they'll be ready for that quarterback running.
But yeah, they will. They will. Because they got two more to go. But Lagway's not really a runner, is he?
He can a little bit, but
yeah, he can run a little bit.
We'll talk about him next week, but I think he's one of the most overrated players in college football.
Probably is. Yep.
That's me personally. I've never thought he was as good as people were wanting to make him out to be. All right, I want to thank everybody that participated in tonight's show that came on. Another great CaneSport live show. I want to thank Matt Shodell for his efforts in the first hour. Bruce for coming on in hour number 2.
Pleasure,
we got the Canes in South Florida, 4:30 Saturday, Hard Rock Stadium. Canes Walk, 2:30. Come out to Canes Walk and see Kane. He promises to be out there. Got to see Kane. I'm looking forward to meeting Kane one of these weeks. So we'll be back here tomorrow night at 8 for the Lamar Thomas show. And then we'll be back here next Tuesday night for this show. So thanks again for everybody for being part of it tonight. And we will see you next time.